We welcome you to episode 15 of Battin and Chattin here on the Eastern Observer alongside Niklaus Feil and Denis Tuohy. I'm Brandon Natale. Now, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept in the loop on everything Eastern Observer. And most importantly, Battin and Chattin, our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Now, our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, and many others. Now, what is up, everybody? How's everybody doing today on this fine Wednesday night?
Doing good, Brandon. Just had my first fantasy football redraft of the year. And episode 15, boys, that's almost a full football season right there. 15 weeks. It's crazy. Time's flying. I'm doing good, though. Yankees just won. A lot of good Yankee news, a lot of exciting future eras coming about in the Bronx. So I'm having a good day, man.
Okay.
All good news coming out of the Bronx. Can't be mad about that. As for the Dennis personal life, doing pretty good. Getting ready to go to the Outer Banks this weekend with the homies.
Nice.
Just
Okay.
hang out. So monitoring. There's some kind of a hurricane down there right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Monitoring that, but
hopefully everyone in the South United States in that area affected by it. Hopefully everyone's all right. Everyone stays safe.
I don't know if you guys saw this, and I don't want to derail it, but I saw Smashing Pumpkins is playing at Jones Beach today.
Yeah, my friend's there actually.
The pit at the Smashing Pumpkins concert at Jones Beach Theater, Nikon Theater, whatever it's called, is flooded from the water. The stadium, the arena is right on the water, so the pit is flooding.
Isn't it like
I didn't know that.
deep right now, or like knee deep or whatever? I think it's like ankle deep, right?
I saw the video on Instagram and it was kind of high up. The video was. It looked about like ankle deep.
Wow.
It sucks. And I like Smashing Pumpkins too. I mean,
yeah, good band.
I didn't expect that.
If I was offered, I would have considered seeing them. I don't know, they have a lot of good songs, but obviously the one song, Who Wants Honey? I know y'all. Come on, I know you guys know that song.
I know, 1979, and
yes,
despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Yeah, that one's good. That one's good.
But anyway, this ain't MTV. This is the Dad and Chattin show here on Eastern Observer. Yes, see, I'm getting better at that. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about the Yankees first. So a lot of going on in the Yankees world. So as you can see, so Harrison Bader was just placed on waivers. The Yankees chose to keep him in hopes of making a playoff run, but obviously that didn't happen as the Yankees are now below 500, if I'm correct, fellas, and they're definitely way out of the playoff spot. They're just
this was what a lot of Yankee fans have been saying since really the trade deadline. The Yankees finally officially raised the white flag and are kind of punting on the rest of the season. And we'll get to it in a bit, calling up the younger guys. This is kind of like a prelude to spring training right now for them. And first it was Donaldson was the first domino to fall. Now Harrison Bader. I'm not sure. We'll get into like where guys are going to go for waivers in a bit, but I'm kind of curious to see where he goes. I think the Reds would probably be a good spot for him. They're third worst in outs above average for center field this year, so he kind of just slides right in.
Okay. Yeah. Bader came over to the Yankees after last year's deadline as he was sent over from the Cardinals for Jordan Montgomery, which shocked a lot of people. I know Bader was injured too around that time, but it ended up paying off a little bit for the Yankees in a way. I mean, he was above average player, great defensive player. I mean, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Bader registered .242, 279, 370 stat line with 7 home runs and 37 RBIs in the 82 games he played. Prior to his release, though, he was .545 over the past 14 games. Oh, nice. And the Mets are doing. Oh, nice. Wow, the Mets just got a nice double play. I don't think I heard about that.
It makes sense for the Yankees, though, for sure. It's the youth movement right now. That's, I think this whole 2023 season, I think it was actually a needed season for his organization. I think it was the needed season. Like, I think for the long game, this is the season that we needed. Look, love Bader, man. He always provided that spark, especially in the playoffs. That guy was just freaking packed, filled with energy. Great defensive player. Had some big-time hits. But I think it's the right call It's the right time to move on. It just doesn't fit the timeline anymore. Timeline has got reset a couple of years, which is fine, especially with the farm system that we got.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memories, Bader. He'd be chilling at Madison Square Garden, showing New York love. Awesome dude. Hopefully, like Dennis said, maybe a team in the hunt picks him up. Maybe gets a ring out of it, It could be a win-win for him. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Dennis, anything else before we talk about a Yankee favorite, Josh Donaldson?
Yeah, I think it's just important to talk about kind of how the waiver process works, which
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
if so the waiver order is done by reverse winning percentage. So what that means is the A's are top in the waiver order, and I guess the Braves would be 30th. And so the order it goes in is fixed. Unlike fantasy sports where it shifts after you use your waiver claim, you shift to the back. It's fixed, and it just stays that way. To the best of my ability, that seems to be what it is. I was looking into it earlier. I saw a bunch of different things. The rules keep changing on it. And unlike previous seasons, this season, I think they started doing this in 2019 or 20, you used to be able to file the waiver player, so place Harrison Bader on waivers, and then you can accept trades on that player, kind of adding almost an extra month to the post-trade deadline for trades to be done. And they stopped doing that. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where Harrison Bader, Josh Donaldson, and other players will get to soon, where they fit into all that with these rules, because now suddenly teams that kind of seemed like their ship was sinking, the Marlins or the Reds, obviously we'll get to Spencer Steer's injury in a bit. Those teams that kind of are starting to sink, they can almost have a second chance at life now with the waiver rules. Say that 10 times fast. And, we'll see what happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bader is one of the first names to go. If the player is claimed by September 1st, they are playoff eligible. If they're not claimed by September 1st, or after September 1st, rather, then they're not playoff eligible.
Okay. Well, obviously they got some time between. We'll say today's the 30th, so obviously they got time between tomorrow and so really tomorrow, I guess. And so there goes Harrison Bader's time in New York. I know a lot of Yankee fans loved him. You guys described it. Even though he was here for a short time, he definitely made an impact here for the Bronx Bombers and for the Bleacher Creatures and just Yankee Nation in general. Now, a player that is, certainly has made impacts for the Yankees. Now, Josh Donaldson, he was another player, like you guys said earlier before, it was placed on waivers. Now, he only hit 142 behind the plate. I did witness some of his hits, actually, in person and on TV. I know, right?
You play a lot of.
Now, I feel like now, before we get into the topic, I feel like he gets. I understand. Look, I get it. I've seen, as a Met fan, I've seen players who've, have played like a Josh Donaldson level. I feel like he gets a lot of hate because, like, I remember when Josh Donaldson was the guy in 2015. He was insane. I know you guys could attest to it. Like, man was like, he was him. Because I remember when he got traded from Oakland to Toronto and his MVP year, that Toronto Blue Jays team in 2015, that was electric. And I remember Josh Donaldson was the headliner of that. So now getting into the topic, I guess in a way, how relieved should Yankee fans be that Josh Donaldson has finally been released by the Yankees?
I think it definitely. I mean, with how the season went, I think it's less. What's the word I'm looking for? Less significant, I guess, that Donaldson isn't here. It's not like we're on the playoff team, and Donaldson's going to be a bat in the playoffs for every game. So I think with the season that we have, it's a lost season. So I really don't think that too much of a burden is lifted off of Yankee fans' shoulders. It's like I said with Bader. It's an expiring contract. It's a much older player, 37-year-old third baseman who's not hitting too well. Once the Yankees called up Pereira and Peraza again, I knew for a fact, I was like, there's no point in bringing Donaldson back. There's just no point in bringing him. Like, they might as well just buy him out, which is, eventually what happened. They sent him to waivers. Again, it just makes sense. He doesn't fit the timeline. 37-year-old guy plays the hot corner. His career is on the the twilight years of his career. It's the youth movement, man. That's it. It's it was a rough time having Donaldson, yeah. But hey, I think it's whatever. He's gone now. See what the kids can do.
Okay.
Josh Donaldson's time with the Yankees was clearly bad. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Okay.
For the amount of money, about $18 million a year for a defensive first third baseman, which is what he ultimately became, as elite as the defense was, it just was never worth it. And that's kind of what, turned a lot of fans off. It was that money could have gone elsewhere. And, at the end of the day, it's not like the guy didn't try. It's not like the guy didn't try. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And his batting average wasn't good. He couldn't get the ball in play. He struggled a lot. His first game as a New York Yankee, you guys remember, I think it was against the Red Sox, wasn't he? He hit a walk-off?
It was opening day of last year.
Day. It was definitely
maybe the home opener. Yeah.
Yeah. And he hit a walk-off to end it. And to win them the game. And everybody's like, oh, I can't wait. And he just did nothing after that offensively. Yeah. And that's always kind of held them back. One thing I do have to say, though, that I've been seeing make the rounds, there are people kind of clowning Brian Cashman for when he once said that he loved Gio, but he's not Josh Donaldson. It's
I saw that.
Hey, let's stop at the revisionist history. Gio Urshela has sucked since he's left the Yankees. He can't play. Defensively, he's still good, but offensively, he's nothing to write home about. And I get that he's a lot cheaper than Josh Donaldson, but it wasn't just Josh Donaldson in that trade. It was also IKF and Ben Rortvedt and other things too. And listen, I hate having to keep defending Brian Cashman, but I also feel like people are harping way too much on the Donaldson thing. Like, it didn't work. There's been a lot of other decisions over the years that haven't worked, but at the end of the day, you can't say they didn't go for it. We're looking at teams, and we're going to talk about a team with the Angels that waited too late to go for it, and now they have to pay the price, as do a lot of other teams. At least they went for it. So I respect Josh Donaldson in that regard. And I also respect, unlike other players, he never took it out on the fans. I don't recall him ever saying anything bad about the fans. And he was treated like garbage, booed relentlessly, constantly.
That's what I mean.
He always just kept a stiff upper lip. And by the way, what Brandon was saying about when he was an MVP in Toronto, my gosh, I think people forget. He was legitimately the best third baseman in baseball at the time. In those Oakland years and Toronto years, he was incredible. The bringer of rain. How could you forget what he did in the 15 and 16 ALDS?
And, with Donaldson at the time of that trade, that was 2022. So, just a couple years before that, 2019 with the Braves. He had a monster year there too. 37 home runs, 90 RBIs, so we thought we were maybe going to get something like that. It just didn't work out. And another thing with the Donaldson trade is I think it's an underrated part of the whole scenario. Gary Sanchez was part of that deal too, whatever. And, we're not missing much there either. He's got the pop, but he's still batting below 220 and stuff, low OBP. But I feel like that really did, and we'll get into more of this later, but that opened the door for Austin Wells, man, to come up. I feel like that was a good, kind of dump right there in that trade as well. So, like you said, Dennis, I got to agree with you. It's not the worst trade by any means. It's not fire Cashman type trades. I definitely agree with your statement on there.
And not only that, I went into this in detail last week, so I'm not doing it again. But come on, this is sports economics. We know how it works. If you want our player, you're going to have to take on a bad contract. It's worked that way for 100 years, and guess what, guys? It's going to work that way for 100, at least 100 more. Yeah. It just is the way it is. So,
yeah, I mean,
congratulations to him on his time with the Yankees. Whatever. If he's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, like they said, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you can make it as a Yankee, whether it's an at bat, an inning, a game, a whole month, a season, he made it through as long as he did. So give him credit. So Josh Donaldson definitely deserves a round of applause and some credit. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, fellas. So credit to Josh Donaldson for him, and well said, Dennis, what you said. Because yes, Josh Donaldson was professional, respectful, never took anything out on the fans. So credit to him for that. All right, now as talks have been heating up that the Yankees might call up the Martian Jason Dominguez. Did I say his name correct?
Yeah.
Jason Dominguez. Yep.
Dominguez, yep. As discussions have reached as higher as owner Hal Steinbrenner, according to the Athletics' Brandon Cuddy. Now, Dominguez is the Yankees' number 2 prospect behind the outfielder Spencer Jones, according to MLB.com. Now, fellas, I have to ask, should the Yankees bring over the Martian over from Mars to the Bronx as the season is winding down? Why does this make sense to call him up now?
Well, Brandon, you don't have to ask because it's happening. I believe Friday, him and Austin Wells are getting the call up. And hell yeah, dude. I mean, like, look, it's a lost season. Dude, Yankees just need to get the recipe for this Braves and Orioles formula they got cooking up over there, man. Call up these young guys. Like Dennis said earlier in the show, this is kind of their spring train a little bit, a little extra time. Seen some major league pitching. Get them the at-bats. Jason will probably be up 2024 opening day now, and he could be a stud off the gate, kind of like how Acuna was, Soto was when they came up when they were 20 years old. This kid, Jason Dominguez, he's got that ceiling. He could be the Yankees, Acuna, Soto, Tatis, those young electric guys. Call him up early, and then if he produces, sign him immediately as possible, just like what the Braves are doing. That's the way you got to do it. Scratch their back, they'll scratch yours.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day. This is the new look Yankees, man. And I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Let's see what we have with them.
Okay.
Let's be honest. The past 2-3 seasons, the catcher position, really, we could go back even further than that. The catcher position for the Yankees has been an automatic out.
Yep.
Let's see what Austin Wells has. It's not just about Dominguez. It's about him.
Yeah.
And not only that, but listen, I've been hearing about Dominguez. He's 20 years old. It seems like I've been hearing about this dude when I was still in high school.
Yeah, we was like 16,
I feel like we've been hearing about Dominguez forever. So let's see what he's got, man. This is exciting.
Yep.
And next season, our outfield could be what? Stanton, Dominguez,
Judge.
I guess. Yeah. Or I said
Pereira,
Stanton
maybe.
and I meant Judge, but we'll look past that. Whoever would play left field, Pereira, whoever, and we'll just see how it is, man. It's exciting. So I'm very curious to see how he does.
Okay,
I want to add something about Austin Wells. Yeah, like Jason is obviously the more electric type guy coming up, but I feel like Austin Wells, if what I think about him's right, he's gonna be the glue, man. This guy, he helped fix Volpe's swing, the whole chicken parm dinner thing. I get huge leadership vibes right there, huge, cornerstone type vibes from Austin Wells, some Posada type stuff, So, hey, we'll see what happens. I'm really excited, man. This is what Yankee fans have been calling for. I've been saying call up Jason since he was 18 years old. This is 2 years in the making for him. I just love the kid so much. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
Boy, I bet you're excited to see him when he gets to Yankee Stadium, Nick.
What's up?
So I could tell you're excited for when he goes.
Dude, even Yankees bias aside, he is one of my favorite prospects. He's just
he's
sick, dude.
Yeah, for the whole season, I've heard this guy's name. Especially probably definitely since senior year of high school. He's been around forever.
Like,
what about the guy? How is he the number 2 prospect though? What's up with this guy,
Spencer Jones? He's been raking apparently in single A and double A. He's just been killing it. Big lefty. He's the lefty Aaron Judge, everyone's saying. So we'll see what's up with him, but he's got a lot of pop, a lot of power. I think he's got good contact and I think speed maybe too. I got to brush up on him a little bit more again. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting. Yankees got, if things keep going this direction, we might even see Jones up in AAA, maybe majors this time next year. So the outfield, like we're talking about, could be Judge, Dominguez, and Jones. That could be all homegrown talents right there. Can't go wrong with that. So we'll see what they do.
Okay.
Yeah. And you said Spencer Jones lefty, Austin Wells also a lefty. And if I may be mistaken, but is Dominguez a switch hitter?
He's a switch hitter.
Okay.
So we've been asking for left-handed bats, bro. Come on. Come on. That short punch is there for a reason, man.
Exactly.
That short punch has made a lot of guys a lot of money.
Exactly. That lineup's got a lot of versatility now if things go well. So it's exciting, man.
next season a non-brain damaged Anthony Rizzo, right?
Exactly.
DJ LeMahieu's been playing this.
Yeah, DJ's been heating up. Him and
credits
Sean
it all to
Casey.
Sean Casey,
Yeah,
man.
Sean Casey and him have been really connecting. So hopefully that spreads out to the clubhouse. And, this is an extended spring training for these guys. So maybe 2024 is just better vibes all around. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, maybe same thing with the Mets. It's just 2023 was just not the year. You know how they say it just wasn't the day, or it just wasn't the year. That's the case with the Mets and the
That's for
Yankees.
sure.
It just wasn't a year, and so hopefully there's a lot of hopes for 2024 and even 2025. We'll see. I mean, we'll get to the Mets in a second, but yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best things about baseball is that it's cool to see, young prospects like develop and rise up throughout the farm system within the organization, and then when they finally come up to the team and they contribute the way like a Ronald Acuna can do, or an Aaron Judge, or even a Pete Alonso, it's one of the best feelings ever. Even a Mike Trout, like I remember when he came up, it was insane. Even Bryce Harper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Players like this, I mean, it just, it's different from football and basketball. Even actually, I feel like hockey is the same way a little bit. I mean, you guys could tell me, but you know what I mean? It's a great feeling when, a young prospect comes up, and then when they contribute, it's the best thing. And it also shows that the organization knows how to develop talent from within instead of going out and buying it. And Dennis, I know looks like you got something to say.
Yeah, what I was about to say is, I mean, basically the whole baseball world just kind of came grinded to a halt with the news of Dominguez coming up this week and Austin Wells. And man, I kind of can't remember the last time the Yankees had a prospect like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Really?
people forget when Aaron Judge was first called up, he wasn't the guy. It was Greg Bird.
Yeah.
It was the guy that they were really talking about.
Tyler Austin?
And yes, him. I was about to say the dude who got punched by Joe Kelly.
Really? Yeah, I was gonna.
Like
Tyler
those
Austin.
two
that's
guys,
kinda-
they were expected to be big parts in Gary Sanchez.
So they
Yeah.
just called up Judge just called up Judge
Just
to
called
call
up
him up.
Judge.
Or
Just called him up. He replaced A-Rod.
no one knew about
Yeah.
how his success was going to be.
He just seemed as like a very green project player.
Like an average player.
Yeah.
2016, not
He-
average, but like a.
He was known
let's see
for his
what we have.
power. Yeah, they
Yeah.
thought he was going to be like a Kyle
D-
Schwarber type guy.
That's-
like,
yeah.
like
Kyle
low
Schwarber's
average,
pretty
a lot
good
of home
though,
runs.
right? Right.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
kind of looked at as like a right-handed Kyle Schwarber, and his defense they were kind of sketchy about. It turns out that he's an excellent defender.
Yeah,
But
And an MVP
yeah,
level
and then
too.
2017 he just totally took off. So I'm glad to see how these prospects pan out. But also, this is the same management that did call up Greg Bird and Tyler Austin, and some of those other guys haven't panned out. Estevan Florial,
Clint
Miguel
Frazier.
Andujar, Clint Frazier.
Oh, I know,
So
I
we'll
know
see what
Clint Frazier
happens.
is a Yankee favorite. I know
Evan
that.
Garcia.
Don't remind me
Um,
about Tevi Garcia. They ruined
Yeah.
that poor kid's career.
And the one thing I
Seriously.
remember about Tyler Austin, I never forget, is obviously yes that fight with Joe Kelly. I don't know if I was watching. I forgot what I was doing. I remember senior year of high school. I think I was watching a game, or I was doing something, and I saw right away on social media through a friend about the fight, and like right away I go to they're like heading into commercial break, and I see Judge like moving with the fight. They just that's like because I just remember how crazy it was. I don't know, like I can't imagine being
Yeah.
in the stance for that. And we're not advocating for violence. Remember that, people. Battin and Chattin does not advocate for violence. That's all I remember from Tyler Austin's that crazy incident at Fenway.
But now to kind of bring back Dennis's point, though, Jason Dominguez is the youngest Yankee to debut at his age, the youngest since Melky Cabrera in 2005. Yeah,
I
Melky
didn't
was
know
20.
Melky Cabrera was a Yankee. I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Melky was. I that's all I remember.
he
really
had
as
some
a Yankee.
moments. He won a ring with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, yep.
Oh,
And then went to
2009. He was on that team.
He was on that team. Yeah,
I remember
San
him from the
Fran.
Giants in 2012. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
hard to forget. He had that monster season. Then he pissed hot for PEDs.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He's the best. Melky Cabrera. Don't forget, guys. Melky Cabrera is the best baseball player on earth for 3
Yeah.
months. Crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the youngest. That's the youngest since. So, him and Cano when they were coming up, those guys were awesome. Like you said, they won a ring. So maybe this formula works again. Hopefully, so what's that?
Yeah, excited.
All right.
This
So,
did- this-
what's
I'm
up?
sorry, Brandon. I was gonna say just one last thing on the Yankees. This did feel a lot like the 1995 season. where
Oh, yeah.
their season ended against the Mariners in the playoffs. And, it's known for Don Mattingly's last season, but kind of the calm before the storm that was the 90s Yankees dynasty. So I'm excited. I'm really
Yeah.
excited about this year to see what we have. So
Me too. I can't wait, man.
All right.
Brandon, go ahead.
Are we going to be saying this next year too, or this
I
feels
hope
like a
not.
'95 season?
I hope not. I hope it's a
Yeah.
96 season and we
Yeah, seriously.
we're down
Start-
0-2 to the Braves and then beat them 4 straight times and then sweep them in another World Series.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
thank you. I thank you guys for that. That's definitely well deserved. I mean,
No problem, buddy.
yeah,
No problem.
so I give you guys credit for that. All right, now let's shift over gears from the Bronx to Flushing. Now, the Mets and first baseman Pete Alonso have had extension talks, according to MLB.com's Mark Feinsand. Now, the two sides appear to have differing ideas on the type of contract that the 28-year-old should command. Now, Bob Nightingale of USA Today also reported that on Sunday that the Mets are expected to trade Alonso after the 2023 campaign. And he also added that the franchise is open to moving any other player who is not under contract beyond 2024. Now, fellas, I have to ask now. Obviously the Mets and him, they've had contract extension talks. The two seem to be far apart. What is a realistic contract you guys would be willing to give Pete Alonso if you were GM of the Mets?
7 years, 140.
Really? 140. Okay. I like that.
20 million a year. That's fair. Is it
Yeah,
going
I
to
didn't
age
put-
well? Power sluggers rarely age well, but at the same time, too, just looking at the way the economics of the sport is going, 20 million, that shouldn't be a big deal long term. Not only that, what he means to the team, dude. Like, this is the Mets guy. And, buddy, you're a Mets fan, so maybe you'll back me up on this, maybe not. But anytime I go to Citi Field, since he's gotten there, I want to say about 30% of the shirts or jerseys there say Alonso on it.
A lot of them,
You
yeah.
know? And he kind of dethroned DeGrom, who had that for a while, that everybody was a DeGrom shirt, jersey, whatever. Lindor has a lot too, don't get me wrong, but there's something different about a homegrown guy. And if you're listening to this program for a long time, you know how I felt about, I'm not going to get into it for 30 minutes again, about how the Mets just never had a guy outside of David Wright. And, oh my God, what's his name? Ed Kranepool. Right, the famous
Yeah,
Tom
Ed
LeGreca,
Kranepool,
the famous Tom LeGreca ran. Ed Kranepool and David Wright. That's your guys. That's your guys.
Yeah.
No disrespect. David Wright is one of my all-time favorite players, even as a Yankee fan. But I mean, those aren't exactly Hall of Famers. And then Alonso might not get there either, but he is the second or third fastest player to 200 home runs ever. He won that 2019 Rookie of the Year, all-time, home run leader for rookies. Broke Judge's record set in 2017. The guy's been a stud. They got to reward him for it. You can't nickel and dime now. If he wants to stay, even after this recent semi-fire sale, retool, whatever they're going to brand it as, I think they should pay up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the years, ballpark wise. Like, I don't see myself going over 7 because, like you said, age and power first baseman, it usually doesn't really end too well. Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, Joey Votto, they hit bombs, but then the batting average is like 220, 230, whatever for years. It's like it's just a former shell of himself. Yeah, I mean, look, I think, like 20, 25 mil per annual, 6-7 years. I think that's a good ballpark right there. It's a good deal for him because he's 30 now, right? 29, 30?
28.
He's
No, it's
28.
28.
28.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, he's right in the middle of his prime, man. He's not getting that Tatis money, obviously. He's not getting that kind of deal, no way. So I think like 6-7 years, 20, 25 mil annually. I think that's a solid deal for an aging first baseman, for sure.
Maybe 10 years, 200. So like a little in between, like probably that's like not good at math here. Probably like 15-ish a year, but those years, 10 years.
Yeah,
That way he's at least getting paid for longer. Brandon, you have a reaction. Is that breaking news?
Yes, actually, we do have some. I do want to report some breaking news, though. According to some multiple reports, the Mets are finally calling up top prospect Ronnie Mauricio. He will join the Mets roster, and that expands on Friday, September 1st. That is the breaking news, fellas. Mic drop. Finally, the
Wow.
kid is called up.
The kids are all right in New
The
York.
kids are
Wow.
coming up.
Mid-Mets segment too. So Brandon, it's breaking news. Your thoughts? Unless, of course, anybody else has anything on the Alonso thing. I'm kind of done. We've done
first,
the Alonso
yeah,
thing
same
lots of
here.
times.
To wrap up the Alonso thing, I like it. I feel like one of the things is that he might command money like Freddie Freeman's or Matt Olson's, where they have $180 million. He might. I like the 7 years, 140. That's a great amount. I mean, shoot. I mean, offered to him right now. I mean, who would want to take 140 million? You know, and I feel like 7 years is good enough. Whether he wants to 180, who knows? I mean, the Mets shouldn't try to budge too much. If they feel like they want to get some prospects, sure. But at the same time, it's hard to replicate a guy that, you know, is a homegrown franchise player. You know, got to try to keep, you know, retain as much players as they can. People saying he's not the toxic guy in the clubhouse, even if it was toxic. So I think they should try to keep Pete Alonso as much as they can. But who knows? I'm not the GM of the team, but like I said, it would not be good if they got rid of Pete Alonso. I mean, that's what I think. But we'll see. I know they'll do what they think is best for the franchise. But now Ronnie Mauricio, now this is pretty big. I have to say, so finally, he's been waiting to get called up. He's probably one of the last of the prospects that have gotten called up. I know that they've been waiting for him to get called up he's been waiting for a long time. They said he was tired of being in AAA now, so to finally see him called up now. This is cool, whether they're going to have him in the outfield or at shortstop. Now, they can't have him at shortstop because Lindor is there. Maybe they move him out throughout the infield. We'll see what they do, but I think this is finally good that he's out there now. Finally.
Try him out at second and trade Jeff McNeil. I'm saying
a lot of
right
people are
now.
saying trade Jeff McNeil. Why though? I mean, Jeff McNeil's another homegrown guy.
We did this week.
And they already extended him, though.
Also, isn't he older? Isn't he 32, 31? Or am I bugging? Or is he younger than that?
McNeil?
I thought, yeah, how old's McNeil?
McNeil's up there. Let me see. McNeil's definitely, I believe he's in his 30s.
He is in his 30s.
McNeil is currently, 1 second, he's 31.
Team control.
31.
You know how they get with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously Lindor and Pete, I know they're a little bit younger than 31, but those are your two cornerstone guys. McNeil, yeah, I mean, I think he's expendable at that point. I mean, that's just the way it is. He's a great guy. Mets fans love him. It's like Bader. I mean, like, you know, Yankee fans love Bader, but like, he just doesn't really fit the timeline of things right now with the new guys coming up, like Jason Dominguez. So maybe Mauricio now. It's kind of one of those guys with McNeil, you know, it's like, hey, you know, we're going a little different direction. We're going a younger direction here. And I think McNeil, I mean, he probably has some solid trade value too for the Mets. Get another prospect, pitching prospect, maybe, hopefully. That could work for the Mets.
We'll see. You said another pitching prospect? From Neil?
Yeah. Don't they need pitching?
Mets need a lot. I mean, they do need a lot, but they don't. Who knows? But they're probably they should spend on free agency if they could. But I mean,
they desperately need.
I like McNeil. I mean, that's the thing that sucks. It's like I like McNeil. I don't really. I mean, I've liked him for a long time. I remember when they first called him up in 2018. He was a non-player, but he was hitting left and right, and that's what the Mets needed, and they still need is players that can just hit for contact and just get on base. He's that guy. I feel bad. It's like they're loaded with infielders, but a little bit outfielders. So,
that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
like there's only
survival.
You only have 9 spots. It's tough.
Survival of the fittest.
Hopefully, some of these young guys are fit for you. Huh? So what? Their third base, their infield long term could be what? Beatty, Lindor, McNeil / Mauricio, Alonso, Alvarez at catcher. Then left to right, it's what?
You have Nemo.
DJ Stewart has been doing all right for you guys, right?
Yeah, DJ Stewart. He just got a walk off. He just got a walk off hit by pitch for the Mets tonight.
So
you got
Nemo
DJ
there. Stewart, Rafael Ortega, Marte, who's kind of been on the IL. I mean,
that's what I was going to say. Marte's the odd man out. They're not going to.
Congrats to him.
I would be shocked if they didn't trade him. Marte.
Yeah, Marte's got to go.
So
So that's the
it's
story with that.
new era of New York baseball.
era.
Man.
Yeah, man. It's definitely been it's been pretty interesting, to say the least. But I like the Ronnie Mauricio move. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see what they do with McNeil. I mean, glad to finally call him up, see what he got. I mean, and I guess fight it out in spring training next year. You know, we shall see. But next, apparently there were reports that Scherzer and Verlander had friction. Now, how apparently, Mike Poom of the New York Post reported that Scherzer and Verlander had a strained relationship in Detroit, and they worked toward harmony while together in New York. Now, let me just pull it up real quick. Now, Puma also noted that Verlander contributed to the reported clubhouse issues. Now, this is what one source said. One source said that Verlander was a diva, according to this Met, causing Scherzer to gross about his fellow three-time Cy Young Award winner. Verlander often complained about the Mets' analytics department, which he deemed inferior to the one that served him in Houston. I don't know.
Is he wrong though?
I mean,
you guys tell me.
He won 2 championships. Well, he didn't win. Yeah, he won 2 championships in 5 years with them. He has every right to say whatever he wants.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly.
Like, I'm sorry. The rings are heavy, man. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were kind of reports about him being a little with Houston last year. So I don't doubt that. Scherzer, when he was back with Texas, I guess over the weekend or sometime last week, they asked him about what you just said, Brandon, and he said that him and Verlander have never been closer. And since coming back
they
together
did say
with the Mets, and I guess their maturity, they were much closer now. And he said that the locker room was the least of the issues. There was no real friction there with any of them.
Right. Thank you for bringing that up, Dennis.
So I honestly have no idea who to believe. Our players, listen, it's not what it used to be in sports. Players in the 21st century are not going to throw each other under the bus the way they used to, especially not in baseball. Back in the day, they were like middle school girls. Nowadays, they don't really get involved with it. So I don't know who to believe. But at the same time, too, if you go to the wrong guy and he has one, how many of your coworkers do you get along with? If you go to the wrong guy and he unloads and says so-and-so's, a jerk, this, that, the other, who knows? As for what he said about the analytics department, it's like, yeah, wow. Somebody isn't as good as the best team in baseball. Who would have thought? And at the same time, too, if he's telling you to step it up and this is what works and this is what doesn't, figure it out.
Yeah, no matter what, I mean, it's even if you have issues within your workplace, no matter what, you got to work, you got to do what's best for the work too.
Coworkers.
You can't pick your coworkers, but you also pick your job. So it's you got to whether you're a pitcher for the Mets or you work in the jobs we do,
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's good to see that obviously they got closer while with the Mets. And Nick, you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, look, I'm not a baseball player. I'm not the manager of the Mets. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But the Mets were struggling heavily with Scherzer and Verlander both on the team. Maybe that whole connection that they had was, that kind of shared trauma kind of bit. It's like, hey, like we're kind of the vets in the clubhouse here. Let's, show this team how we've won. Scherzer's got a ring. Verlander's got 2 rings. So, these obviously were teammates in Detroit together or whatever. So, a lot of maturity goes into those rings and stuff. So, and they're both on solid teams now. So, I mean, they obviously know what they're doing. I don't know. It's all media frenzy at the end of the day, too. People looking for clicks and stuff. So, I mean.
Right. Yeah.
We'll see. I really don't think it was too much into it. They're both grown adults. They're both grown men. I think everything's all right.
Yeah, no, that's good to see. I mean, I don't know how much drama could be spilled up more for the Mets than already needs to be. What happens has already happened. Season didn't work out. They got the prospects and are loading up for next year. This year wasn't the year. I don't think the media should try to stir the pot more on what they think was or was not. But hey, I'm not in the clubhouse, but it's good to see that Scherzer and Verlander they did kind of squash that. Yeah, I mean, whatever you guys think, that's not the case. That wasn't the reason for the toxic clubhouse or whatever they like to call it. But yeah, no. So Scherzer's in Texas, Verlander's back in Houston. That's how it is. I know you got. Did you see Scherzer got some boos from the Mets fans when he
That was
pitched?
ridiculous. That was so stupid. Like, Scherzer wasn't that good for us, so I'm going to boom. Guess what? If Scherzer doesn't go to the Mets, it completely delegitimizes the Cohen ownership. It does. You could argue with me all day, and I'd be right. It doesn't matter. Like, he was the first major before Max Scherzer went to the Mets. Who was the first major free agent signing they had? Who was the last major free agent signing they had? Oh wait,
Well, I mean, the trade for Lindor. I mean, I know it wasn't a signing, but
trade.
it was a trade.
There was a trade. So
I think
who was another guy? You want to go back to 07? I guess Pedro Martinez and Tom Glavine.
07, maybe. All right,
Who
maybe.
who did they have between then? You know what I mean?
Curtis
Like, that's what I'm getting
Granderson.
at. Is like, boo Scherzer all you want, but he was. Listen, okay, he had one bad playoff start, and he didn't do good this year. He had that suspension, a Fugazi suspension, according to him.
Right.
If you want, like, I get it. Fans are a little the way they are, but at the same time, too, he should not be the one that you're booing. Why didn't you boo everybody not named Kodai Senga who pitches for you this year? Everybody sucked. You're gonna boo all of them?
I don't think. I don't think.
Sucks.
No, right. I don't think he should have got booed. But I also don't think he should have got a tribute video. I mean, look, I get it. He was because I don't think he played long enough for the Mets. Consider like even Eduardo Escobar. I feel like everybody's getting a tribute video. What's up with this? Next thing you know, I'm gonna get a tribute video for showing up to the games. Like, I'm just saying, nothing against Scherzer. He was great. I loved him on the Mets, and I saw a lot. I'm proud to say that I saw him pitch as a Met and a National too. Phenomenal career for our childhood. I just think it was a little bit too much giving him a tribute video. The boos, yes, the boos were out of hand, but that's just how I feel.
That I won't quibble about. The tribute videos are just ridiculous with teams now.
Yeah,
you see it in basketball all the time. Like,
yeah,
Jesus, this guy was on our team for like 3 days. What are we doing? You know,
dude. The next time Harrison Bader comes to the Bronx in different uniform, he's getting a tribute video. Like, he's getting something.
Yeah, even Harrison Bader gets a tribute video. Not even Josh Donaldson. Come on now.
That's just the way sports is. Donaldson might even get one too at this point, man. I have no idea. He might get one too. It's all good press, bad press.
Joey Gallo could have gotten one if he had any highlights with us.
Exactly. I mean, we all know there weren't too many of those.
Wow.
But,
Joey Gallo, damn, that's a rough one.
Yeah, catching strays.
Tribute videos don't really bug me. It's just the way it is these days. But the booing's ridiculous, man. You don't boo a guy who gave you his service, for
he did so much
half a season, it's like whatever, like a season, whatever. It's just
right. It's how it is now. To wrap up the Mets, because I want to get into the what happened throughout the MLB just real quick. Edwin Diaz, his goal is now to return from his knee injury. He's now planning to try to return this MLB season. Now, after throwing his first bullpen session recently, he reportedly said he felt good in the session and he has sights on returning this season. Now, Diaz said, right now I'm feeling great. Now, my goal is to come back this season and throw 1 or 2 games or whatever. That's how I'm looking. In my workouts and everything, my goal is to come back as soon as I can. As of right now, we are on a positive note. Now, can Diaz make an appearance this season, or should the Mets keep him on the shelves until next year?
Keep him on the shelf the next season, and then depending how the Mets season begins next year, Mets fans are gonna give me pitchforks and torches here. Trade him. The Mets should trade Edwin Diaz next season if.
Wow! Oh my God! All right.
If they're still rebuilding next year,
getting ready. I'm coming over next.
I love this.
You better be ready.
I can't believe this. When was the last time I didn't have the hottest take on the episode? Has this ever happened?
That is a pretty hot take. I'm not gonna lie there.
I love this.
If the Mets are rebuild like they
God,
said they were
bro.
going to next year. They should trade Edwin Diaz. Look, Edwin Diaz is great for Queens. He's great for Flushing. He's great for the Mets. He was legendary there. But man, he's he's an agent all-star closer on a rebuilding team. That just screams trade to me. I mean, I don't know. It really depends how the Mets season starts next year. If they're
Well,
hot, they're a great team. Keep him.
He signed past 2024 though, so I don't know if he qualifies. He might not qualify.
You
Does
say
he,
that.
Does he have a no trade clause?
That's a good question.
That I don't know. I'm just assuming he doesn't, but
not that I know of.
They should definitely trade him if they're in the bottom of the NL East again next year.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for that paperwork.
You say that, but I spent the first 7 weeks of us doing the show, or 10 weeks, whatever it was, before the trade deadline, flabbergasted and dumbfounded how David Bednar and Daniel Bard weren't traded from the Pirates and the Rockies, respectively.
That is also true.
Listen, I've been saying it for years that a good closer on a bad team is the principle of a homeschool. I thought the Yankees should have traded Clay Holmes. They should always be the first ones to go just because of that commodity. That being said, for Edwin Diaz, I wouldn't do it because Steve Cohen, whatever his name is, has so much money that they could just put together a team overnight. And
that is
still
true.
have their butt prospects and whatnot. And I know people are going to say, well, this free agent class is weak, but it's strong in the areas the Mets need. There's some good starting pitching out there, Eduardo Rodriguez in particular.
Aaron Nola, the Japanese pitcher.
Yeah, right. Like there's a lot of guys that they can go after to build a pitching rotation. And honestly, like that's the first step in the right direction. They also really need to bolster the bullpen around Edwin Diaz. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think they're that far off. But I also understand your caveat of you saying if it's like this season and they're out of it by the trade deadline. Because I agree with you.
Yes, because I remember what the Mets GM said. It was a 2-year plan. It could be this season and next season. They plan on rebuilding. If that's the case, I'm just going by what I'm hearing. If that's the case, I think they might have to ship Edwin Diaz. And look, they can get a ransom. When healthy, he's the best closer in the game. They can get a ransom for a closer. And I think the Mets, like you said, Brandon, the Mets got a lot of places to fix. That's a good start right there. So, I mean, look, if they go crazy in free agency again this winter or whatever, and they start off hot, different story. But if it's like this season again, they're 5th place, the Nationals are ahead of them, I think it's time to start to seriously consider trade Edwin Diaz.
I will say, though, because bullpen is such a need for them, keeping Edwin Diaz instead of having an 8-person bullpen, you can kind of get away and squeak on by with like a 5-man.
That is true.
And that is very valuable. Very valuable. So it would be interesting, but I love that. Trade Diaz. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so awesome.
I don't know. I kind of
it's weird. I like it.
It is weird. Yeah. And I might have to get ready with that pitchfork. I'm not going to lie. But we'll see.
Hey, don't be too emotionally attached to Edwin Diaz. You guys are trying to chase him out of the.
We were trying to chase. Okay, we were, but then we signed him back. He loved the Mets that he already. Hey, look, who are more harsh on?
That's all he's got to do is show up.
Who are more harsh on their teams? Mets or the Yankee on their players? Mets or the Yankee fans?
Wait, what'd you say?
Who are more harsh on their players? The Mets or the Yankees?
Oh, the Yankees, and it's pathetic.
Right. Who are you to tell me who I can?
Well, listen. Hold on. No. I went to a couple of Mets games in 2019. I was the biggest Edwin Diaz fan that side of the Mississippi, and I'm not even going to deny it. Listen, the second Jared Kelenic came up, Mets fans had to be talked off the freaking Verrazano Bridge. Okay, it was ridiculous, and I'm not going to let Met fans forget that Jared Kelenic hit one freaking hit, and the whole world went on fire. And they're, I can't believe we traded him for Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz. Oh, I can't believe it. What has Jared Kelenic done since then? Except get hurt and have 1 week of looking excellent and then 3 weeks of looking borderline unplayable. Okay?
Yeah, no,
I'm not going to let Mets fans forget it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
They were They booed the hell out of Diaz in 19. I remember all the videos of any time a pop fly, a moonshot was hit, he just instinctively points, and people would rip him for it, and people were saying that he was a waste. I remember I have a cup, like one of the souvenir cups with Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz on that. And I remember friends of mine that were diehard Met fans saying, this is the biggest piece of trash souvenir cup I've ever gotten, reminding us of the worst trade in Mets history. I remember not just one fan saying that, other fans agreeing with that. So I'm not, if people are going to be emotionally attached to Edwin Diaz now,
well, to be fair, were we wrong? He blew like 10 games that year. He blew 10 games.
But also, here's the thing. If he was bad in 19, bad in 20, and bad in 21.
21, he was average. He was
average in 21. Okay, fine. And then great in 23. Great in 22. Wouldn't Met fans, wouldn't you instinctively think maybe that was just one really good year and that happened to relieve
and Timmy Trumpet
there's just so much going on with it that it's
Timmy
just
Trumpet
like, how can
playing on, and there you go.
I bought an Edwin Diaz jersey. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm not.
And then Timmy Trumpet kept playing on, and there you go. The rest is history. There you go. And you got the lights out Diaz and the whole Met Nation.
Listen, no disrespect to Edwin Diaz. Dude's a stud. That's my argument. Is Edwin Diaz has always been a stud. But what I am going to say is like for people to be emotionally attached. Like I really like that Diaz kid. It's like you did it. You really did it.
Well, to be fair, so I guess to end the closing argument, no, you're not wrong. I mean, look, I was one of those Diaz haters. It was hard because look, come on, I've seen a lot of Met misery and the games he was blowing. It was not easy. It was not easy. I'm in it, but hold on. But it takes, you know what, New York, and I know we all know it. It's a very hard market to play in. Whether you're the fans, whether you're the media, New York, it's and like they always say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So. It took a while for Diaz to kind of warm into the New York groove. You know, back in the New York groove, they play it every Mets win. There you go. See how I go. Yeah. So, you know, it took a while, and I'm glad to see that the Mets didn't give up on him right away. I remember in 2020, they were saying teams were ready to trade for him right away. Like, and the Mets, his value was like below zero, but the Mets still kept him. They didn't give up on him. And so, you know, to see where he was last year was amazing and astonishing. Like, you know, maybe, you know, so
I'm not trying to say about that on Edwin Diaz. And I get his 2020 is one of the best closer seasons ever. Certainly the best by a Met. And I get it. I get the love for Edwin Diaz. I just think that people need to calm down because stop, you know, prisoner of the moment kind of thing. Right. It would be like if Josh Donaldson hit for the cycle tonight and tomorrow the Yankees hit all of Yankee Stadium is Josh Donaldson merchandise. Do you know how mad I would be? Yeah, I'd be 80 times madder than I am about the Diaz stuff. You guys were chasing him out of New York.
Yeah.
You know, like so.
I know.
All right, I said my piece. Nick, your thoughts.
Are you good now, Dennis?
Yeah, but you know, and total hypothetical, but you know, Diaz comes back next year. What if it's like 2019, 2021 again, you know, like what happens then? You know what I mean? It's just
right.
I know it's Dennis, I gotta agree, man. I remember in 2019, all these Mets fans, they wanted Diaz. They wanted Diaz out of New York.
It was sad.
And look, and Brandon, I know you said Yankee fans can't talk. Me and Dennis, we're not like that though. We're not out here booing Aaron.
No, I'm not saying that. Yeah,
never
I know.
happened.
It was funny because when I was at the Yankee game last week, like a week and a half ago, when I was against the Red Sox, that was a week and a half ago. Yeah, that was a week and a half ago. Jesus.
Yeah.
I was the one fan I was talking to is Gleyber Torres. He's at the top of my list of Yankee players I want gone. Hits a home run. He's like, yeah, let's go. And he's like all hyped up. He's like, I'm like, you like Torres now? He's like, I said Torres, Gleyber, and he's like, I'm like, yeah, no, he's good. And then he made that error. No, I mean, I get it. You know, it's how it is with our players. Players sometimes it's a love-hate relationship with the fans. I mean, look, but yeah, so that's what I gotta say about Diaz. Who knows? I mean, to end the argument, because I want to get into the MLBPA quick. Who knows? I wouldn't mind if I saw him a couple games. We'll see, just to get him in a groove again. If he's ready to pitch, sure, go ahead. I mean, it sucks we couldn't have him the whole year, but that's what happens. That's baseball, you know. I know Dennis, you know, but I wouldn't mind if I saw him in a couple games or two. We'll see.
I was laughing to answer the question that Brandon had asked initially that started this conversation. Yeah, if he's healthy, why not? At first, I was like, no, you got to save him. But if it's naturally and they're not rushing him, then play him. But if you are rushing him to get back, I would disagree with that.
Mm.
So, yeah.
All right. Now, it's been a lot now around the majors. Man, it's crazy that we're talking about player safety and fan safety. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but two men were arrested and charged with trespassing and disturbing the peace after allegedly charging at Atlanta Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. during Monday's game against the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field. Now, I'm not laughing because I mean it's not funny, but the way they were doing it, and before we show the video, it's just comical because the people are crazy. It's just stupid. Now, this happened during the seventh inning of the Braves' 14-4 win over the Rockies. Acuna was not hurt, though, but during the incident, he was not hurt during the incident, and he did try to stay in the rest of the game, and which he did. Acuna went 4 for 5 with a home run and a double and 2 stolen bases, adding on to his MVP caliber season. Now, after the Acuna incident and the shooting in Chicago's guaranteed rate field, the MLBPA is now stepping in and reviewing team and safety protocols as it does every year to help prevent the possibility of similar future incidents. Now, as I read the rest of the statement from Evan Dralich of The Athletic, he relayed the statement saying, "The Players Associations takes player safety very seriously. Following security incidents, including those on field, our Director of Security is in immediate contact with MLB security and local authorities where appropriate. In addition to our security experts, our PA player services staff is in daily contact with players, providing updates and relevant information. While the details of the recent incidents in Chicago and Denver are still under investigation, we will be reviewing the club and stadium protocols currently in place as we do throughout every season to mitigate the possibility of similar future incidents." Hold on one second. So this video is courtesy of 9 NBC News in Denver, Colorado. This is the video of the Acuna incident. It is courtesy of Bill Grossman. So now let's take a peek of the video. So yes, before we dive into it, I'll repeat it again. This video is courtesy of 9 NBC News in Denver, Colorado. The video of Acuna is courtesy of Bill Grossman. And so, yeah, man, what the heck?
I hate the streaming stuff so much. Because you want to hear why? It's like, you know what it is?
Let me hear it.
And everybody can relate to this. Man, woman, child. Everybody can relate to this. It's like people that run onto the field and do that kind of stuff. They're like the one girl in your elementary school class when everybody's singing happy birthday to little Johnny Rocket who goes hard in the paint like she's getting an audition for freaking High School Musical and starts going full doggone VH1 top 20 music video countdown hosted by Jim
MTV
Sheeran
Unplugged
and just ripping. You make it about you. Don't make it about you. It's like there's the two guys when Hank Aaron hit the home run and they ran on the field. We want to congratulate him. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You want to make it about you. And I hate that. And a lot of times you don't see players get hurt, obviously. And that's awesome. That's awesome that they just wanted to give him a hug or something like that. I forget, or selfie, whatever it was. They didn't hurt Acuna, and that's awesome. Good. Shouldn't have done it in the first place. Shouldn't have done it in the first place. And listen, there was a time where this was kind of commonplace in baseball. There used to be Morgana the Kissing Bandit in the 70s and 80s. The blonde chick that would just run on and just kiss the players. Different times. And,
I forgot about that. Wow.
You make it about you. You make it about you. It's annoying. As for the shooting in the White Sox stadium, what are you doing? First and foremost, I'm a big kahuna, so I think I could get away with saying this. You guys know me. I'm sitting down. I'm a big man. You guys know I'm a big boy. I'm at 6'4", not more than 200 pounds. So I could get away with saying, what kind of mutant do you have to be to bring a firearm into a stadium? And did you hear the way she brought it in?
No,
she brought it in. She hid it in her belly fat.
Ew. What?
What a freaking
deranged. We're so
you joking?
No, that's the report. I'm not coming up with that. That's the report. That's how she got it in.
That's ridiculous.
That's how she got it in. What kind of mutant do you have to be to do that?
This happened This happened inside the stadium, correct?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And nobody got killed. Nobody got really hurt or whatever. She shot herself.
Yeah, I
don't know what's going on with the White Sox, but remember earlier this season there was that huge fight in the stands too.
Yep.
What?
There's a lot. Yeah.
Is going on at Guaranteed Rate Field?
That's crazy though. That's not right though. I don't know.
All jokes aside, the Acuna thing that was kind of resolved quickly. I saw John Boy Media did like a video. He was breaking down like the shooting to get it, to like breaking it down. And dude, you can't even like really notice anybody get shot. It was like the weirdest thing. Like nobody got killed. It just grazed somebody's leg. The bullet grazed somebody's leg. So a bunch of people are standing around like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And somebody the lady I think shot herself in the foot on accident in the leg.
That's crazy.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It is so bizarre. And listen, a lot of these stadiums, events and whatnot, you just kind of go through the metal detector. But there have been times that I didn't even have to do that at games. So I remember Brandon, buddy.
Yeah.
Last year we went to Rays Yankees. You know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going. He
had metal shears in his hand. He's giving his buddy a haircut. He has the smock on him and everything.
That game was.
And they're bringing him out.
Weird.
That game was out of its mind.
That game was out of its mind.
They bring the kid out. Security carries this kid out, and then he comes back and he just said they just wanted me to know how I got it through security. It's like probably the same person that didn't even have me go through a metal detector at this very game.
Yeah, honestly, it was
like it's just some of the security at Yankee Stadium, at other places. The Long Island Ducks, just letting you guys know, should have my quack room. The Long Island Ducks, they don't even have metal detectors. They don't have any security.
Oh, that's not good.
None.
Zero. Yeah, that Yankee Rays game, that game was insane too. There was a big brawl there too, Dennis.
Yeah, two guys got into it. No, but those are two guys. The White Sox fight from earlier this year, it was like 7 or 8 people. It was huge. It was like
there was a lot of people in that. That was only that fight. That was a big fight though, and I remember you said it called Benintendi because Benintendi got a triple off of that. I know you said
yes. I remember that. If anybody is watching or listening to this, just look up when Andrew Benintendi got a triple against the Rays, and you'll find it. The center fielder for the Rays got distracted by the fight and dropped the ball. Top tier.
Is that it? I didn't know that. That's what happened?
Yeah, because while that was happening, I heard the crack of the bat. So me being a fan, I looked right over to the ball to see what happened, and that's what happened. The guy, he was tracking the ball down. He saw the fight. I saw his head see the fight, and he slowed down and he dropped the ball. It's great. It's a great highlight.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I just remember with the haircut. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. It's just out of the. It was the most probably like I'm a random guy. That was probably the most random thing I've ever seen in my life. I never would have pictured I'm going to a Yankee game. I'm seeing a haircut right on the right of me. I might as well get a skin fade while I'm at it. I mean, it's probably cheaper than.
That's what I got today.
All right, I love my barbers. Shout out to Damon and Steven and David at Mr. Proper and over in Bethpage or Seaford, whatever it is. But either way, it's just not going to a baseball game and expecting a haircut. But yeah, to your point though, I mean, which leads into the question: has safety been raised a concern now in the MLB? And what could they do honestly if we were in charge?
I mean, look, you can't go wrong with more security. I mean, look, what we were just talking about is insane. This girl has a Glock 19 up her fupa. Like, dude, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? Like, why you're going to a baseball game? This isn't Rust and MW2. Like, I mean, like,
yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Yeah,
why are you bringing straps to a baseball game?
Yeah, honestly,
what are you thinking? There's legit psychopaths out there just walking around in the streets. It's ridiculous. So when it comes to a public setting like that, baseball games, you can't go more security, more metal detectors, dude. You can't be bringing a strap to a baseball game.
Crazy.
Come on.
The thing is, if that's true, Dennis, was she bringing in under her belly?
That's what I read. It could be wrong, but that's what I read everywhere, and I haven't seen anybody.
Ball sack sports.
No, dude, it was a real report.
Yeah. I believe.
If I'm wrong, it's going to be the most embarrassing moment of my life. Yeah. But if I don't think I am.
No,
White
but
Sox.
I mean,
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, but like, sad part is, I believe it. I believe it. People are nuts.
First thing I see, White Sox shooting, and then the first response. You want to see what it is? Belly fat.
Yeah, it's insane. People are nuts, man. We need more security at ball games and other public places. It's ridiculous, dude. People are nuts.
I will say, according to CBS Chicago, the attorney of the woman shot at the White Sox game denies bringing in the gun having anything to do with the discharge. So maybe that's what's incorrect. Maybe she didn't. It wasn't her who brought it in. Maybe somebody else. But per People Magazine.
Per People Magazine, yeah. But yeah, so
it's insane.
Yeah. And also WTTW News. Not sure. Oh, it looks like PBS logo.
PBS.
So, Herald Sun, New York Post.
Yeah, so,
fan-sided. I mean, it seems USA Today. It seems pretty legit, dude.
That's a lot of sources there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Moving on.
All right, so but yeah, they definitely should raise more concerns about player safety. I mean, I don't know how people are doing it. It's like it's insane. I don't know. I don't know how these people are sneaking in, finding ways to get in. Security needs to be more tight, I guess. I mean, come on, like. They have these. How are they getting in through these metal detectors? I mean, was the belly fat covering these Glocks? You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, how is this happening? Like, if that's true, then there's something going on. There's something's wrong. But hopefully, the MLBPA steps up. Hopefully, they've try to fix more of the safety. Or it's the fans. The fans have run into the field for the Acuna incident. I mean, my God, it's just what these people got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, leave the guy alone. Enjoy like, I'm sure you could find ways to meet. Well, don't stalk these people, but like, just leave these people be. Come on. Like, this guy's playing. That's literally good that he got disturbing the peace charge. Because come on. You're disturbing everybody's night. You're disturbing Acuna's night, disturbing the pitcher's night, the fans' night, because they spend money to watch these players. Like, don't run onto the field. No one knows who you are. You could be a psychopath, for God's sake. Like, it's just not needed. Stop making it about you, like Dennis said. Credit to that. And like, just, I don't know, because those fans are just insane. It's like jumping over the security, trying to get through. Like, are you okay? Jesus. And like, I remember one time when I went to my first ever Jet game. I remember I was 10 years old. I remember it's when the Jets beat Houston. Shout out to that. Shout out to Josh if he's ever listening. But I remember it was like in the third quarter, the Jets were up by like 10, and there was a fan that ran onto the field. I had no clue what was going on. I thought it was part of the game. Like, I thought it was part of the act. That's why I just think it's funny. I had no clue what was going on. And we were high up, so we kind of had like a good view of what was going on. And you can see it on TV too. Well, one day I'll find it and I'll show you guys. Because you see the fan running onto the TV. And the next play, I remember San Antonio home scored a touchdown. I remember the very next play. So maybe that was good luck for the, not advocating for that, but that's what I just remember. That was my moment with that. And yeah, that's my rant on that. That's my rant on that.
Yeah. Now Angels talk, right?
Now Angels talk real quick. I'm gonna wrap this up because I know Nick has to go real quick, right, Nick?
Yes, sir. Sadly,
yes, don't worry.
But we also got to talk about Ohtani too.
Yes, that'll be part of it. We'll bring that part of the Ohtani talks. Now, as of recently, the Los Angeles Angels have sent 5 Angels packing on waivers as they sent Lucas Giolito, Randall Grichuk, Hunter Renfroe, Ronaldo Lopez, and Matt Moore on waivers. Now, it's crazy to see Grichuk, Renfroe, and Lopez go after they were just added during the August 1st trade deadline. It's not even September yet. The Angels would wound up going 7-18 during the past month, and any of these 5 players can now be claimed off of waivers. Now, I have to ask now, why did the Angels make this move? Like, did they give up that easily, or what does this move say about the Angels, the state of the Angels right now?
Nick, you want to go?
Yeah, so I heard the news when I was at work. I was just getting the Twitter updates, and I was like, what the hell is going on in Los Angeles? And I'm like, they just traded for all these guys, and I believe some of them, one of the relievers, is still under contract. So I was just super confused by them. Like, I've never really seen anything like this before. They bought to contend. I figured they'd at least hold on to them until the offseason, maybe make some trades, make some moves or whatever. So I was just super confused by it, but I could be totally off here. But the only reason why there's definitely a few reasons why that they did this, but I think the main reason why is I don't know if they're just opening up the books or what for Ohtani for free agency this upcoming winter. I don't know. They're just trying to cut space, whatever. Just super confused. I've never really seen anything like this before. And obviously, a few other teams were doing it. The White Sox of Clevenger, they did it. The Yankees, obviously, of Donaldson and Bader. So I don't know if all these teams are just opening up the checkbooks or what, just getting ready for the Ohtani sweepstakes this winter. I don't know if that's what it is. That's the only thing I could really, really think of. But just weird, super weird. You trade for all these guys and boom, you just drop them like flies. It's crazy.
Yeah, so what it is first and foremost, they're not making the playoffs. They know they're not making the playoffs. So I guess they have a lot of young guys that they want to call up. That could be it. And also, they're in the highest tier for the competitive balance tax. If they're outside of that highest tier, signing Shohei Ohtani goes from them getting a 4th round pick if an opposing team signs Shohei Ohtani to getting a 2nd round pick. So that is quite the incentive.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you cut that money and you're not going anywhere to begin with, that's a pretty good incentive for them to do it. So it is saving money, but also, like I just said, like there is a strategic value to it.
Okay.
I think the waiver system is pretty flawed in baseball, that it doesn't recycle the order and it seems fixed. Maybe I'm wrong. Every source I saw said that that's the newest way to do it, that it's fixed, the order is fixed. Hey, man, we'll see. But I don't know where these guys are going to wind up. But teams like the Reds, like I said earlier, teams like the Reds, the Marlins, the Cubs, the Red Sox, those teams that are trying to get into the playoffs, the Blue Jays, like they're salivating right now at Lucas Giolito, Harrison Bader. Like some of these dudes are like legit dudes. Ronaldo Lopez. What team doesn't need relievers this time of year? Good relievers.
The Giolito one shocks me. I know. I mean, he's a good pitcher. That shocks me.
He's a very good pitcher, but at the same time too, since he's gone to the Angels, he's been bad. Yeah. I get it from their aspect. If I'm not going to re-sign the guy and there's value in not re-signing him so I can get Shohei Ohtani, like a good draft pick for that, I'm going to do it. Yeah. I get it. And I'm curious to see where these guys wind up. But I'm telling you right now, the Reds are desperate for pitching. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes there. I already said Bader to the Reds. I could see We'll see, man. We'll see. Randall Grichuk can
Yeah.
kind of play anywhere. He's just that kind of dude. Good corner outfielder. Maybe the Marlins, my fish. Let's go.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm crazy to see. I mean, what happened to Shohei? I know. I have to ask. Do you guys think it's time that they kind of put him on the shelves? I mean, is it time to end the show? Because I mean, I feel like because I was at the game on Sunday, and I feel like Mets Angels, and I feel like it was looking like it was. I don't know. He's for his UCL tear. It's is it a good idea he's hitting? Because that's
Listen,
another thing. No, go ahead.
this is going to sound shocking. I'm not a doctor, but what I will say is, I don't know like how the UCL tear affects the swinging. I think that him and his camp have been very, and maybe it's on the Angels too. I've heard reports from both sides of it. Very reckless with his health.
Yeah.
Very reckless with his health. And I'm curious to see how that's going to play out in his free agency. If teams are going to demand he has less autonomy than he had with the Angels. And
Right.
by the way, it's a UCL tear. Masahiro Tanaka pitched, 3 seasons with a torn UCL? So, it isn't the end of the world, but it sure as heck could get bad. So we'll see what happens with Ohtani. But I don't know. I don't know how it's going to affect the money he gets in the free agency. I don't know. But I definitely think that they need to consider that maybe moving forward, maybe you kind of delay his starting in the season. Maybe you start him as a starting pitcher. Maybe you start him in June instead of April, and you work him up that way. Maybe more outings out of the pen rather than starting games. Some kind of balance that way. But I doubt they're going to do it because this is the same way other guys that are injury prone should be handled. And it's not how they do it either. For years, I feel like Noah Syndergaard would be one of the best closers in baseball if they just moved him to a closer. Guy gets hurt all the time. Even the same thing with DeGrom.
Yeah.
I don't understand what goes on with the Rays, but freaking Cy Young would need Tommy John surgery if he was on that team. Their whole staff gets hurt.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's going to affect teams. I don't know how the hitting affects it. I don't know. The whole thing is bizarre to me, but I also wouldn't have had him pitch every 5 days. Because remember, when he first came into the league, I think it was once a week.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's a lot more common now, but I'm pretty sure it used to be once a week they would have him pitch.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right. Nick, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched base on this. I think it was last episode, 2 episodes ago with Ohtani.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If we're paying this guy $600 million, man, it's like you want to use him. God, you have him hitting every day. He's hitting nukes. Then all of a sudden, he's having these UCL tears and stuff. It's a red flag, man. I mean, I kind of like the idea of him, potentially being a closer hitter. I mean, I think that could be great. Go to like the Dodgers are always stacked with pitching. Put him at closer. You don't have to have him pitch every other day. Whatever. Bullpen role, whatever it is. But yeah, I think the Angels, obviously, he's done pitching for this season, but might be time to start resting him up, let him get his free agency. You don't want to risk anything more serious. Let him get his bag. He's earned it. He's 2 players in one. We'll see what happens. I mean, if I'm giving this guy $600 million, I told Dennis this. I told you this, Brandon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be a starting pitcher all the time, man. I think I want that. I'd rather get his 40 home runs, 100 RBIs, 290, 300 batting average for 150 whatever games. So we'll see what happens.
Also, just one last point for this from my end.
Yes.
One of the crucial parts about coaching, management, whatever for sports is saving your player from themselves. How many times have you seen Shohei Ohtani swing the bat and immediately grab his back or wince or something like that? It's almost every game.
Yep.
They really got to consider, bro, you already won the MVP. You're the first. He's at an even 10 wins above replacement this season. He was won the MVP. He's going to get $500, $600 million. Maybe put him on a 10-day IL.
Yeah.
But that would hurt ticket sales.
Yeah.
So there's that.
You got to do it. Sometimes ethics comes over business. Some people don't think that, but I mean, you hope people could think that. But yeah. All right. I guess that wraps up the show.
I guess so. I don't have anything else, right?
All right.
That's it.
So now, be sure to check out our revamped website at www.easternobserver.com for the latest news in the world of baseball and so much more. We thank you for joining us on another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host Niklaus Feil and Denis Tuohy and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, rest of your week, and have a great Labor Day weekend.
Go Jason Dominguez.
Celebrate Labor Day weekend responsibly, folks. If you go to the beach or
Yes,
something.
Uber too. If you guys
Yeah.
don't drink responsibly, drink
Uber is
responsibly,
wrong.
and think of Uber too or Lyft.
Yeah.
And that's it.